Great afternoon, everyone. My name is Nicole Messiah, and I have the honor and pleasure to be serving as your District 3 County Commissioner, but also your Chair of PECS, Planning, Economic Development, and Community Services. I have the pleasure of serving alongside my other PECS colleagues, that is Commissioner Terry from District 6 and Commissioner Long Spears from District 2. Today we are joined by Commissioner Patrick, District 1, and also Commissioner Ladina Bolton from District 7. We will get started with our minutes from July 8th. I just want to, again, appreciate your patience. I know we were supposed to get started at 2. We are running a bit behind, as we typically do, and have a pretty vast agenda, but we'll try to get through them as expeditiously as possible. With that, for my committee members from our July 8th, if you've had an opportunity to read the minutes, I will entertain now a motion, please.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right. I'm seeing a proper first and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now we will be moving into our agenda directly. We do not have any presentations at this point, just trying to narrate through our agenda as printed. And we're going to start with our appointments. And so our first appointment, that is 2025-0924, Commission Districts. That's to appoint Dr. Devon Horton to Post 3 of the Development Authority of the DeKalb County, Post 3 of the Residential Care Facilities for the Elderly Authority, and Post 3 of the Private Hospital Authority. And if you wouldn't mind approaching us, Superintendent Horton. Thank you so much. We've gotten passed out an interview packet related, as though Dr. Horton needs any introduction. An amazing superintendent here in our school district. Welcome here to our PECS meeting today.
Thank you for having me.
Alrighty, so we have just, a couple of questions, if you don't mind, and some that are printed, but I always give the commissioners, the members, an opportunity to ask any questions they see fit. But if you wouldn't mind, just start telling us just briefly about yourself and your previous qualifications that make you a great addition to this board.
Sure. Thank you, commissioners. I'm happy to be here. Board is excited to have this moment also as well. My name is Devon Horton, serving, I can't believe this, in third year superintendent here in DeKalb County School District. That is a monumental movement for us in our district, as we're working hard to get this right. Just my background, I understand in education and economic development, it goes hand in hand. We know that in order to improve the resources in our community and bring business and access to our families, the quality of the education school system plays a major role in that. And so I've been doing this. This is my 26th year in the field, and I've worked in communities where economic development was booming with dynamic school systems. And I've been in situations where school systems were not so dynamic, and the economy struggled for that. And so personally, as a leader, I know that in order for us to give our families and the students of DeKalb County their best access and opportunity to be successful, we have to offer high quality education, and therefore we're bringing businesses in that can give them jobs in the field, give them places where they can live, work, and play. And make sure that the communities are safe. And when you bring businesses and the economic development is lifted, it creates a sense of pride in the community, safety, and it gets others to want to invest into that space. And we have benefited greatly as a school district from the SPLOS. We're just finished. We're in SPLOS 6 now. Amazing, you're ready to try to go for SPLOS 7. So it's awesome to see, and we know that the economic development will only help and give us the things that we need as a school system to make it better.
I appreciate that. And so, and you brought up some great points in terms of the collaboration between, the experiences of our students and, what's going on with the county economically and the school system, then working in tandem and how they actually impact the students. Based on that, what role do you believe that you can play in terms of sort of bridging that gap in terms of being more detailed and providing to this board and others in terms of some of the challenges that students are going through and, different projects, ideas, just helping us to bridge some of that gap and that divide. What are your thoughts there?
That's one space I'm not short of. I have a lot of ideas, but more importantly, what we have in DeKalb, we're getting ready to go through. We're in the process of what we call student assignment planning, and in this process, we know right now we have 110,000 seats in our district, but we currently only have 93,000 students. So there are going to be some consolidations, some school closings coming into our county, but we know that there's going to be real estate. There's going to be opportunities to partner. Some things you all just really approved earlier, some homelessness access for housing and other things. I feel that we can truly partner. If we look at a school and school buildings in certain areas that we're closing and consolidating, why couldn't we create some kind of sheltering for families that we service in our district? Why couldn't we really work to create affordable housing for our teachers and our paraprofessionals that really try to live within our county? And I know that we have plenty of real estate that we don't just want to sit on. We want to make sure that it's contributing positively back into this community. So there's a lot of access and resources that I believe through economic development, the school district, as I see what some of the districts in the surrounding areas are doing, we can do it, but do it at a whole nother level and really work on reimagining what the DeKalbs look like and what we can offer families who typically don't have access. We have hotel challenges, right? Families living in those. Why couldn't we take our own facilities in partnership with the county and be able to build that out for them as well? There's just a lot, and you're already partnering with the county in some other spaces, but I think this is just a moment to have the seat at this board. We can really speak to the true dynamics of what's available and bring those realities to life.
I think that's amazing. Great points. With that, I want to open the floor up to my committee members as well. Commissioner Longspears.
So great to see you,
Nice seeing you again.
Superintendent Horton.
Yes.
I really appreciate you being here, and I was so excited and delighted when I saw your nomination for our Development Authority. I think it's past due to have
Yes.
a member of the schools on our Decide DeKalb board, along with Commissioner Patrick, who's liaison for the Board of Commissioners. I'll ask one of the questions on the list, and then I have a more granular question.
Okay.
But, and please think about this question, obviously, in terms of your role as superintendent of our school system.
Mm-hmm.
So what are your top priorities that you want to focus on related to the school system during your tenure on this board? And second part of that question is, how do you plan to advise the Development Authority Board regarding these priorities that relate to schools and partnership opportunities?
Yes. What's important is that we understand that school is school, and many of our students come into our school environment with a lot of advantages just from where they're born and who they're connected to. And some families don't. And our families are truant. Some of them are really truant. They come from different backgrounds, a really high immigration population. But one thing that I would love to prioritize, if given a seat on this board as a superintendent, is that we even the playing fields as far as housing security. Being able to make sure that our families have a stabilized place where they know that they are not going to have to move to the neighboring apartment building that's going to give them a lower rent or whatever it may be, and create opportunities for not just them as students to live safely, but giving partnerships and development and a job opportunity for their families. Those are some things that I would love to prioritize. And also being able to take some of the areas in the community that are food deserts and bring those businesses into space so that families have access to fresh fruit, high quality food, and things of that nature that in some spaces in our county they just don't have right now.
Thank you, sir. And just as a brief, more follow-up comment, I was so happy and proud of our joint meeting earlier this year.
Yes.
And prior to those statements, you said that, at least what I heard, is that y'all would be open to some land use partnerships.
Absolutely.
Okay, I very much
Absolutely.
look forward to exploring that further with you tomorrow during
Yes.
our meeting.
Yes, we meet tomorrow at 2 o'clock, right?
All right.
Yeah.
Yes,
We'll be
sir.
there.
Okay, thank you so much. Yield back to you, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Terry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, I echo the sentiments of my colleagues. This has been a long time coming.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Horton, it's clear that your tenure, your third year, I feel like that's a record at this point, at least in recent memory, for being a school superintendent here in DeKalb, which is great. it's better. Let's put it that way. But when it comes to sort of your plan to be a disruptor,
Yes.
as well as our CEO reimagining, I mean, you put those things together, a lot of magic can happen. So I really commend the CEO for giving the school system this seat at this very important table. Economic development, obviously, it
Absolutely.
impacts all of us. I'll just ask like the pre-planned question. So this is a little generic, but feel free to riff off of it. So what role should stakeholders and the public play in shaping large development projects? What tools would you use as a board member to solicit community feedback
Yes.
and ensure it influences the authority's priorities?
I love that question. My team, if they were here, they would say he's going to talk about change management. One of the most important things is that, like what we're doing with student assignment planning, there's a robust group of community members, business owners, families that are part. It's about 150 individuals across the county that meets once a month in their respective regions of the county to actually help identify what are the challenges and the unique focuses that we need to have for our schools. I would love to take that exact same model and do something very similar for the economic development. It's important to have that voice. Not to say that they make a decision, but you get individuals at the table who are going to be impacted, who are going to feel a certain way, or who just have interest in the decisions that we're making around those developments at the table. And in the process we use for something of that scale and that magnitude, we can use Trigo Ed, or we use compression training as the way to drive it. But to get the voices of the community, something that I found really dynamic for us. Surveys, yes, they happen, but we use this model, this system called Thought Exchange, where people is not canned. You can put your true thoughts into space, and those individuals people can like, disagree, or even put their own thoughts out there to see if it can gather and grow legs around what other people feel. I think that those are just some of the mechanisms that we can use to really uplift the voices of the community members around critical decisions for economic development.
Oh, wonderful. And that's like a technology software?
Yes, it's technology. Yeah, we use it now. You haven't gotten a thought exchange from us?
Never seen it.
All right,
I don't have any
get you one.
kids, so I don't
Okay.
necessarily that's
Yeah,
a key
we have
stakeholder. But yes, I would love to learn more about that. But I think
Okay.
that's great in embedding technology to help us expand
Yes.
our outreach. That's a great idea. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Commissioner Patrick? Commissioner Bolton?
Actually, I would like to ask a question, but I want to preface by saying, Commissioners, I think this engagement today is the epitome of the new BOC-BOE relationship, because all year long, and we're only 7 months in, I think we've been engaging quite a bit. I remember you guys invited Commissioner Shakira Johnson and I to one of the town halls hosted by Board of Education member Dijon DeCosta.
Absolutely.
You were there and spoke as well, and then we had the retreat recently. So this is a continuation, it seems, of the relationship we've already established in 2025. And I want to bring to your attention really quickly before I ask my question. One of the things I was especially excited about when seeing your name is recently with the Board of Commissioners, we actually had a recent graduate of Southwest DeKalb High School stand right there and present to us a hiring and retention strategy, which included the DeKalb High School of Technology. And so having you with us gives us another avenue to engage our students to bring in other ideas as well. And so I'm excited to see what this can bring. And as someone who myself was raised here, raising 3 boys here. My husband teaches at Miller Grove High School. I am especially interested in what piqued your interest and to serve on the board. Were you asked? Was it something that you intended to do for a long time because you saw the potential in the relationship and where we could go as a unit? But just extrapolate a little bit more on that.
Yes, when doing my homework before I was offered the position interviewing, I was kind of not just looking at our district, but looking at what was happening in the county. And I know there had always been some, I'm gonna call them little knots in between our district participating or not participating in TADs and things of that nature. And when I got to probing, I learned from some of our board members, they shared ideally, and they, ideally felt that it would be great for us to have a seat. I wasn't aware of the board. and set out to get a seat at the table, and they explained how it was designed. And so I took interest in it from that point. I can't say that it was something that before, like I said, hey, I'm going to get on this board, I realized its impact. I didn't know. Like, I just came from a district where we were not at the table when they were making decisions around tax allocation dollars, right, in districts. So this is a great moment. Not that there's a ball stopper. It's really to be a thought partner. I really believe in the process of using TADS. I've seen it work miracles and framework in our district, miracles across many communities, and I think what has happened here in the metro area, I've seen some really dynamic communities just rise through processes like that. And so I would just love to have an opportunity to be there and share the perspective, because I think as the school system goes, so does the county. I thought it was important.
Thank you for that. I yield back.
I completely agree. Thank you so much. That exhausts the questioning that we have. I really do appreciate your time and your willingness to serve in this capacity.
Thank you, and I
so much, Dr. Horton.
appreciate each one of you for your commitment. Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Continuing on with the agenda, we have 20 under appointments for those following on, 2025-0993, and that is the reappointment to the Historic Preservation Commission, Ms. Stacy Thibodeau. There we go. I knew I was going to butcher the name. Thibodeau. Great afternoon, Ms. Thibodeau.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Thank you so much for speaking with me today.
Yes. Right. So we also have your interview packet here, and appreciate you bearing with us and joining us here in PECS. Just a brief question for myself. Can you tell us what motivates you to serve on the Historic Preservation Commission, coming back and your willingness to do it again? What motivates you?
Well, I am the type of person, I do like to be involved and get involved in the community. I've been in real estate for 2 decades, and I am a community advocate. And so this board, to me, represents not only an opportunity to save buildings, but to help protect our communities. And so it certainly aligns with the type of work that I do and the things that I enjoy.
Thank you so much. And with that, I'll open up the floor for any other committee members. Commissioner Long-Spears.
Sure. Thank you so much for being with us today, Ms. Thibodeau. I thought I would ask you a question that we have pre-prepared, and then I do have a very specific question. So how do you think the HPC can better engage with the broader community, especially underrepresented or marginalized groups, to ensure more inclusive preservation efforts?
Excuse me. I would say being inclusive, reaching out to all stakeholders that you can reach out to. I think it's important for all voices to be heard. You know, no one can tell us about a community more than the people that actually live there. So things like listening meetings, reaching out to civic groups, churches, finding out from them what they want in their community, I think would be important.
Thank you for that response. As a follow-up, unrelated, well, kind of, maybe a little related. So, year before last, I learned a nuance to some of the HPC rules in terms of decision-making, that there are cases where something will be sent back to us, and it'll be appealed to the Board of Commissioners. And we are at that point to act in a quasi-judicial role. And so when we're required to act in a quasi-judicial role, we really can't show up like we normally would for our constituents. So let me just give you the example. I'm really looking for your opinion on this.
Okay.
And so something is sent back to the Board of Commissioners that's being appealed. So they're appealing the decision of the HPC board. Okay. It puts us again into this quasi-judicial role, where if we have our constituents say, hey, will you come out and look at this property, or can we set up a community meeting, we're technically, per the law, and Mr. Welch can confirm that, we're not allowed to do it. We have to stay out of it. We're not allowed to speak to our constituents, which is just anti everything that when you're elected to be a county commissioner, you're there to represent
Right.
your constituents. One of the legislative agenda items we had on our priority list this year for session, and maybe we'll keep it on the list for next year, we're working on developing 2026, is that instead of appealing it back to this board, instead it is appealed directly to Superior Court. So it just leapfrogs over the Board of Commissioners to the Superior Court to make that decision, to a judge in Superior Court, where that is their job. So how does that play out with the HPC? I mean, it might be frustrating for you guys if we kick it back to you, but what are your thoughts on that, just in practice, how that's worked?
And actually, if I could, I mean, it seems like that's going to be more of a detailed question to follow up, aside from just, asking questions as it relates to your appointment, and just in the interest and respect of time from the other colleagues that are here. Commissioner Longspears, if you could follow up via email, I'd like to have that answer as well.
Could you email me?
Yes.
Certainly. And
Okay.
let me go ahead and preface that by saying, for me, this is not a reappointment. This is my initial appointment. And I don't know if that's why we
Okay.
were.
Okay.
It has it listed as a reappointment.
It does.
It is initial for me.
Oh, okay, well, disregard. But FYI,
I could take a wild guess at that, but
something
yeah,
the
it would be
HBC does
educated.
have to grapple with. But okay, thank you, and noted that it's incorrect here. Thank you so much.
Commissioner Terry?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Good to see you again, Stacy. Thanks so much for putting yourself up for this public service. These are very interesting meetings and lots of interesting cases. Probably the biggest thing that I think I've seen over the last 4.5 years is related to how historic preservation intersects with new development. And so, in your opinion, how should the Historic Preservation Commission balance preservation goals with community growth and economic development?
In my opinion, I'd like to see preservation partner with development, and partnering would look something like coming together to preserve those aspects of a building or a site or an area by using, for example, some of the assets of that historic area, not losing the culture of the area, not losing the fabric or the heritage of the area. In my opinion, they should partner together.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Patrick? Commissioner Bolton?
I just want to say I had a question, but it was based on the fact that this said reappointment. So now I have nothing.
Thank you
But
so
thank you
much.
for joining us.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you
and
so
if we
much.
can just make sure from legal and with the clerks that that's made clear in terms of, as I know we're trying to get through and determine the appointments of boards and the terms, if we can make sure that it's made clear that this is her initial appointment and not a reappointment, I think will be helpful for us in terms of trying to decipher the who, what, where, and how of some of the appointments we have presently and those going forward. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Mr. Thibodeau. I got it right? There we go, Ms. Thibodeau, for your time, and hopefully it was brief enough. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And so with that, I want to, if we could, go back to 2025-0924, the appointment of Dr. Horton.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. We, item number 2025-0926, we actually approved that this morning, and that was for Mr. Jim Durrett. He was before us approximately 2 weeks ago, and so that was, that item number was approved for those that are following along in the agenda. Just to go back to Ms. Thibodeau and making sure that we're not skipping, that's 2025-0993, all commission districts. The appointment, and I believe that there needs to be a modification there in terms of the language, but an appointment to the Historic Preservation Commission, Ms. Stacy Thibodeau.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The next item, 2025-0918, Commission Districts 2 and 6 to approve the W.D. Thompson Park Master Plan located at 1760 Mason Mill Road, Atlanta, Georgia, 30329. Director Ellis.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
We have a real quick, we'll go over 3 additional park master plans that we have prepared for you today. That will catch us up on all of the park master plans that we had out that were completed. We do have 2 that are in the works we'll bring shortly after they're completed so that we don't get behind again. Okay. I'd like to introduce Lauren King Lambert. She's a project manager for parks, fairly new to us, and she'll go over the, which park do you need them? W.D. Thompson.
All right, and we're going to take the W.D. Thompson, and then we will come back to the next items that are 3 and 7 and 3 and 6. But at this point, we'll take the W.D. Thompson Park Master Plan, please. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Commissioners,
Good
Madam Chair.
afternoon.
I'm pleased to present W.D. Thompson's Master Plan, which serves District 2 and Super District 6. This plan aims to enhance the park to better meet the recreational and ecological needs of the surrounding community while reflecting the vision of the Friends of Thompson Park. Projection will come up soon. Developed in partnership with Park Pride in 2024, the plan was shaped by a robust community engagement process, including meetings, surveys, and site visits. Residents emphasized 3 priorities: preserving and restoring natural features like forested areas and creek corridors, improving pedestrian connectivity within the park and the surrounding neighborhoods, as well as making improvements to existing park amenities. The final vision plan includes stream restoration, improved bridges and boardwalks, new wayfinding features, and habitat restoration through invasive species removal and reforestation. The project estimate from 2024 of $3.24 million has been updated to $3.63 million to reflect current costs. In summary, this plan balances conservation with thoughtful amenities, creating a park that remains a peaceful natural refuge for the community. The design and engineering for the stream restoration is currently underway, while the rest of the funding has not yet been identified. Thank you for your time and support.
Thank you so much. Commissioner Long-Spears.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Appreciate you being with us today. Just confirming, you said the cost was updated to $3.63 million?
Yes, an increase of 12%.
Okay, so we will at some point need a substitute for this item. In our binder, it still has it listed at $3.2 million for W.D. Thompson. But I'm excited and truly looking forward to this. What you have mapped out looks wonderful. So thank you so very much for your interest and investment in this park. Thank you. Yield back to you.
Thank you. Commissioner Terry?
No questions. Thanks for working on this back in 2024 and bringing it forward for adoption today. Thanks.
Commissioner Bolton? Commissioner Patrick?
What I do have a follow-up.
All right, we're going to move things along. You can go ahead, Commissioner
Thank you.
Long-Spears. Go ahead.
So the fiscal impacts, as there isn't any appropriated funding for this project yet, have you, go ahead, Director Ellis.
No.
Or whoever.
No, ma'am, there's not. But we'll always put it on, it's on our list of, once they have the master plan, it really elevates our priority.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Just confirming. Thank you. Yield back.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you both for being here with us today. And we'll get to the other agenda items, the other, which I think we have about 3 or 4 in just a quick moment. Thank you so much. Yes, and so we have a substitute that we need to that's going to be coming forth with.
Yes, ma'am, we'll bring that when it's being approved.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve 0918 with a pending substitute updating the cost.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yay.
Thank you so much. All right, we are going to skip the next 2 Parks and Rec items. We voted on 2025-1036, the allocation of the $5 million ERA2 funds. This morning, it was approved, so that is no longer a need for us to address in this committee presently. The next item, 2025-1064, Commission District 5, expansion of East Metro Community Improvement District, CID, that was deferred for 60 days, deferred to our 9/9 meeting. Then we are now going to address the Black Hall 2025-0681, all commission districts, resolution requesting that the administration take action to recover land traded to Black Hall Real Estate Phase 2, LLC in the 2021 land exchange if Black Hall's remaining contractual obligation are not promptly met, reopen Entrenchment Creek Park and restore Entrenchment Creek Park's land and trailhead. And that was presented by Commissioner Terry. And we, of course, need legal as well to be able to weigh in. County Attorney Linkus and Deputy County Attorney Welch as well. So can you just give us, and COO if you choose to, but can you just give us a brief update as to where we are related to this particular issue as a whole?
I can address that. Madam Chair, I can address that.
Okay, I just want to hear from, again, the administration in their position, and of course we had attorneys because we're talking about land exchanges and recovering land, so just want to be able to set the clear understanding as to what's going on, and then you're more than welcome to add at that point, Commissioner Terry.
Well, the statement that I would make, Madam Chair, is that we clearly understand the position of the author of the resolution. It has been quite some time. Certain agreements, arrangements were made early on that, for a variety of reasons, have not manifest. So, I mean, we would like to move forward, whether it's with this strategy. I'm not going to speak to that, but we do recognize that there's a valuable piece of property in the form of Entrenchment Creek that we would like to see brought back to life as quickly as possible. So, I mean, that's what I would say at this point, but with all due deference and respect to the author of the resolution, I don't know if, we want to, take this as the approach, resolution, but we definitely hear you loud and clear, even without it.
I appreciate you, COO. And Deputy County Attorney Welch, County Attorney Linkus, any thoughts in terms of what has been proposed and the capacity for us to even be able to enter into any particular type of action as it relates to recovering land?
Certainly, and I echo COO Williams' statements. Obviously, it is important that the obligations made to the county are either met or unwound in a way that makes sense to all of us. So what I think I can safely say at this point is that there are conversations ongoing. This is something that requires multi-party cooperation. We are not in a position to unwind this deal unilaterally, but we have been asked to look at avenues to potentially reverse all or a portion of it. We are looking at that, and we are having internal conversations, as COO Williams indicated.
Okay. So in terms of just looking at where we are and what our options are from a legal perspective, where do you believe that we are in the process? Just knowing that also County Attorney Linkus needs an opportunity to be briefed as to all of the components and the issues related to this as well. Just want to get some time sense, wanting to address this concern from Commissioner Terry, the author, give it due deference, but also wanting to make sure that any additional steps we take, that those are going to be lawful ones before we spend too much time deliberating and not really have a capacity to move on. So can you update us on that?
Yeah, absolutely. And as I said, this is it will be a multilateral discussion, not something we can handle unilaterally. I would suggest that within a period of 60 days or so, we should be able to be back with an update and a plan forward, if not reports on steps we have taken to implement that plan already.
Thank you so much, Deputy County Attorney Welch. Commissioner Terry?
Thank you. Yes, I was literally going to just say we're working on it and was going to defer it anyways, but thanks for the update. Spent 5 minutes talking about it. Yeah, so a motion to defer for 60 days.
Second.
And yes, and sometimes it does take to understand where we are in the process. Again, I thank you for those update. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The next item, 2025-0751, all commission districts, a resolution of the DeKalb County Board of Commissioners to create the DeKalb Arts and Cultural Council. Commissioner Longspears.
Thank you very much. This is a District 2 sponsored item, and I was very, very excited to bring this forward. There has been a small group of stakeholders, volunteers, that have been meeting. We call it a design team, about establishing a new DeKalb Arts and Cultural Council. The process has been going on with this dedicated group of volunteers now for about 8 months, and we do have funding in the current budget to pay for a consultant. And so we have been working through some details with hiring that consultant in and who will manage the work. But for the purposes of the resolution, it really is just a statement on behalf of this board that we're in support of creating an Arts and Culture Council. And so I am hoping that everyone will support this item moving forward. So I'd like to make a motion to approve 0751.
All right.
Second, I have a comment.
Yeah, and I have a comment as well. Commissioner Terry?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, so I do support this. Certainly what the commissioners what we've done at the Board of Commissioners the last couple of years is do some kind of like smaller kind of art projects, district by district. I think this would allow for the whole Board of Commissioners with our various stakeholders that are outlined in the appointments. So that the appointments are really good, Commissioner Longspears. And so I mean, this is an opportunity for us to kind of take that county-wide approach, make sure there's full representation across all the districts. And then, hopefully upon approval of this resolution at the full board and approval of the funding, that would be the seed funding that we currently have in discussions at the FAB committee, we would have some good seed money for whenever the board's fully up and running, they'd have something to work with and hit the ground running, because I know there's a lot of interest in doing murals and sculptures and the kind of the whole gamut of arts and culture. So this is really exciting. Last comment I'll make is I think arts and culture and the investment we make in these types of programs and installments or installations is economic development. There is something very crucial that connects vibrancy and community, placemaking, with also free expression. And so this council, along with the funding, really cements our commitment to expanding the arts, recognizing the diverse array of talents and artists and folks that work in this the cultural sector already existing in DeKalb, but also driving economic development into the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I have just a couple of quick questions, because I'm hearing economic development. And just recently we had President DeBar from Decide DeKalb that came and presented to us related to the arts, the DeKalb Arts Council that they had in the program that they're putting forward with, again, the collaboration of the administration and also with our engagement as well. So can you tell me what efforts that the current Arts Council, as it's operational, as you guys are providing, what steps they've taken to engage with Decide DeKalb?
Well, that is an easy response, because our wonderful leader of Decide DeKalb, Dorian DeBar, has been a member of the stakeholder committee since day one. He's actually, I believe, attended more meetings than anybody else on the entire design team, including myself. So Decide DeKalb has been engaged. He is as excited as I am and others are, all of our arts advocates, to move this forward. So in addition to Decide DeKalb's participation on the design team and the development of the Arts Council, we also have James with Discover DeKalb as well. Yield back.
All right. And so in terms of the consultant, as great in terms of the involvement of Decide DeKalb, and fortunately was able to have a conversation with President DeBar around this issue as well, or this agenda item as well. So there is a consultant. Can you tell us about that consultant and the funding for that consultant?
Yes. So the design team was instrumental in identifying candidates to serve as the consultant or consulting agency for this project. It was narrowed down to an agency called Purpose Possible. We interviewed the candidates. The candidate that was selected, Purpose Possible, her name is Susanna Darrow, did present at our last Arts and Culture Planning Design Team Committee, just her thoughts and her, I guess using her, really just kind of leaning into who I believe 20 years of arts experience, how she feels that we should move forward. The funding was allocated in our budget this year. And I believe, Ms. Ganga, it's $35,000 from Purpose Possible, is that right? And there was a total of $50,000 actually allocated. So there is some wiggle room with the dollars. And so now we are just in the process of finding either we'll live with Discover DeKalb, possibly live with Decide DeKalb, and that's really just who will manage the process. But everybody's in full support, and I have been truly grateful for Mr. DeBar's participation, his feedback. If you read the resolution, you will see several of the whereas statements are related to economic development. And he was one of the first candidates I asked to serve on this advisory committee. And again, I think most of us up here have been engaged in some type of public art project in the past. And we know that it is, whether it's a mural or whatever else, is really an expression of the community, their values and their beliefs. And in addition to that is that DeKalb is really evolving into an arts community. And so we do have all these small little projects, but I think having a master plan and a committee that has oversight and can advise us on what these projects should look like. So we really approach it as one DeKalb with a vision for our art and community that reflects all of DeKalb County. I yield back.
I appreciate that. And so Purpose Possible, had they, and I appreciate them presenting to the Arts Council, had they had an opportunity and presented to the board at this point?
They have not presented to the board. They have not been invited to present to the board.
Okay. And so in terms of the appointments that exist presently, and you mentioned covering the districts, can you tell me what appointments have been made and what appointments are outstanding presently?
Okay, so let me back up a little bit. This is a design team, and so it's a group of arts lovers that serve in various capacities related to the arts. There have been no appointments yet. For us to make appointments to the Arts Council, we have to actually establish the Arts Council first. However, in the proposed resolution on page 2 of the May 13, 2025 draft, you'll see where each commissioner, if you go to number 3, each commissioner does have an appointment. So, for example, we use Commissioner Patrick's district. District 1 commissioner shall appoint 1 member to post 1. And then, so all 7 of us will get an appointment to it. Then you can go to H, post 8. The chief executive officer shall appoint 1 member to post 8. Post 9 is a second appointment by the CEO. Post 10 is Discover DeKalb appointment to post 10. And then post 11 is Decide DeKalb appointment to post 11. So we wanted to make sure that we captured all of the commissioners, the CEO's office, and 2 other instrumental entities that can really help us move the needle on public art, those being Discover DeKalb and Decide DeKalb.
I appreciate that. All right, so there's no appointments presently, but the anticipation is that we will, those entities you mentioned will be able to make appointments. And so I just want to understand, how does that differ from, with having Purpose Possible? Is it a consideration to utilize someone else? For instance, myself as a District 3 County Commissioner, if I wanted to have a conversation with someone in terms of art that I thought would be beneficial for my district, how does that work with, or is a disconnect from what you see forth with this Arts Council presently?
So the current design team that is meeting, they're basically doing exactly that. They are designing this initiative, how we should roll this initiative out inclusively, how this initiative should be structured, how the initiative should be, or the council would be populated, which we just discussed that. Certainly, I'm happy to share the contact information for Purpose Possible, where any of the commissioners are welcome to reach out and have a conversation with Ms. Darrow and just learn a little bit more about her expertise and her background in arts planning in the metropolitan area. But again, the resolution itself is around the creation of the DeKalb Arts and Culture Council. It is something, again, that's been organic and has continued to evolve. With the frequency of our meetings, we'll probably speed up a little bit once we do have a point consultant in place.
Yes, it'd be great to be able to have Ms. Darrow to come before this committee. Of course, I'll make time for a presentation, because to the extent that essentially there's a council being provided, and we've paid a consultant and consultant services, and we're anticipatory of them utilizing those funds and making determinations and giving their input as to what art we have throughout our county, for them to come before the board and present their thoughts, their ideas, and for us to move forward that way versus something that's created, expected to just be adopted, and not even being able to really have more conversations and potentially vet them. Because in terms of Purpose Possible, it may be great for yourself and some other, some other of the commissioners might want some different options in terms of what art we have when in and around our county. So, but I appreciate so much your efforts and wanted to make sure that we had an opportunity to have discussion related to this. Thank you.
All right, so as a follow-up, should I provide Ms. McGraw or your chief of staff or you the information for Purpose Possible?
Actually, I would like for her to come present to us here in PECS, as it is a PECS agenda item. We're talking about creating an arts council. It'd be great for her to present that, especially since we're creating a whole new council where there's opportunities for the commissioners to appoint, for others to appoint. You mentioned President DeBar and his engagement and his involvement. It'd be great to be able to have a presentation around this. With that, Commissioner Patrick.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Generally supportive of the idea. I think that it's such a good idea. I had a small area plan designated as a arts and cultural small area plan within the Embry Hills community, and we're actually looking to expand it beyond just Embry Hills, but everything that's unincorporated District 1. So my only question would be and I understand this is still being put together, just want to make sure that if a local community comes up with a small area plan, sort of laying out criteria that they're looking for arts, the Arts Council wouldn't necessarily interfere or obstruct with the vision they have. It's just sort of a, hey, we've got you, and we're going to put you in part of the rest of the team as the overall county perspective.
Yeah, I certainly see more of a collaborative spirit with that, and I wouldn't want to in any way distract from your small area plan. I hope it will only support and help your small area plan.
Yeah, I think for the unincorporated areas of District 1, this is a great opportunity from, again, Embry Hills, Henderson Mill Road, North Crest, Pleasantdale Road, all of those areas having an opportunity to express what would be appropriate to their area to sort of identify their community, but I also get the idea of having perhaps a couple of items within the artwork that identifies with the larger area as well as perhaps DeKalb County. But okay, well, thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Commissioner Bolton? Okay. Commissioner Terry? Okay. Okay, so it sounds like you're going to reach out and Ms. McGraw will coordinate to try to get them to present, give us more details, try to understand the collaboration with Decide DeKalb, what some of the ideas are in terms of the council as a whole, and working collaboratively with the small area plans that may be set forth, in addition to what their ideas are. Just get to know them, right? To understand what's been happening, in terms of discussion that we haven't necessarily been privy to during some of these meetings. So I appreciate that.
And we do have an active motion on the table for approval. So can we take a vote on that?
Aye.
Aye. I made a motion to approve. It was seconded by Commissioner Terry. I don't see Deputy County Attorney in the room. I hate to look at Mr. Linkus or Nicole, but do the rules apply when there's a motion in committee?
Yes, ma'am, they do.
Okay, so there was a motion to approve.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right.
All right, without, just to be clear, without a presentation, without any details, at first it was supposed to be an appointment, then there's not an appointment, or no appointments, without understanding how they're working directly with Decide DeKalb, but no additional details presently, because I've never met, and we have never met, and have no understanding as to what's going on with the Arts Council before this this committee. So without the benefit, I don't think it's a lot to ask them to present in front of this planning, this PECS committee, to give us some understanding as to what's happening, when and how. I think that's a small ask.
Madam Chair, so I'm certainly happy. My question earlier was a technical question. I'd be happy to provide the details to either you or your chief of staff or to Ms. McGraw so that y'all may set up that presentation. But the motion was made to approve, and that's a recommendation out of committee. This still has to be heard in front of the full board, so there will be an opportunity for you to ask any additional questions as needed of the vendor or the design team.
So my ask is going to be then, can we, and I understand that, my ask is going to be, since there's an opportunity to come before the board, that we have a presentation either in Cal or before the board as it relates to this, this meeting then. This Arts Council, can we have a presentation? I understand that we can reach out to individuals directly, but as we have a consultant that, and there's been $50,000 that has been allocated to this, to the purpose possible, just want an opportunity for it to be presented. Is that too much to ask to take place during CAL or during our BOC meeting presentation?
So we do have a CAL coming up in 2 weeks, I believe. Ms. McKenzie, if you can work with Ms. McGraw on Purpose Possible coming to present at CAL. And then since it just received a recommendation for approval out of this committee, that would then give you the opportunity at CAL to ask questions before the vote at the August 12th business meeting. Thank you.
Fantastic. Seeing we have a proper first and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The next item is 2025-0876, all commission districts. Unauthorized change of fee deposit schedule part 202 used for RPCA facilities. Director Ellis.
Yes, thank you. If you remember, we bifurcated the fees and charges, and this is the second part. And what we'd like to start with, if it's okay, you'd asked us to go back and give some options for the summer camp and the after-school section, which we have, and that will include some reductions for folks that would also qualify for free and reduced lunch. So with that, I'll ask Manager Ramsey to come forward.
Good afternoon again, Commissioners. Good to
Great
see you.
afternoon. Yes, you can go right ahead, sir, whenever you're ready. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I'm sorry about that. I just wanted to make sure we had.
We're scooting at it. It's better that, in terms of the fund that we normally get, so we appreciate you guys making that a little larger for us. Thank you.
Okay. I just wanted to give you some options in terms of meeting some of the needs or the requests that were put forth the last time.
Yes.
Basically, what you see under the current fee is just what we have as our current fees. And we did not make any changes to that, just as a point of illustration. If we want to stay with that, that's fine with us. What we did do under the qualified discount, though, you'll see an NA, and then you'll see a fee. Basically, what that means is we don't have that right now, so it doesn't apply right now. However, if we decided that we wanted to stay with the current fee structure, then we can just submit put in that dollar amount under the qualified discount, and it would leave everybody right where we currently are. So there's no reduction there, but it keeps us right where we are. And that follows down the line for everything in that column. But if we move over to the next column, proposed fee 1, you see there is a slight increase for the first child, and then so the second child stays with the baseline of what we have now, as does the qualified discount. And then the third column goes on to go up slightly more, and I think the $75 was our original recommendation for the increase. And then we'd provide a $5 discount for every additional child. And then again, we would have the qualified discount at the current level. So essentially what we've done is provided options to increase gradually, and you'll see that in each column, or just stay where we are right now.
Thank you so much, and we know that we asked you to go back and give us some options. I know that Commissioner Terry had some specific concerns in terms of the increases, and to be quite honest, and I appreciate that he was the catalyst in terms of, just looking at the costs to some of our residents, particularly at the beginning of the summer when we started discussing it and how it impact them. So with that, I did want to give him an opportunity to ask any questions he may have first related to this.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, so I think my understanding of the updated proposal is that if the child is qualified for free and reduced lunch, I think it was, that was sort of the threshold, that they, in essence, their fees would not go up. However, obviously, if there's someone who has means or, is not in the qualifying class, the fee would go up. And then it looks like you're just kind of asking us to pick between number 1 or number 2. Giving us a choice there. Thank you.
Yeah, whichever one of the 3, actually. I don't know if you want to keep it the way it is, move to number 1 or move to number 2.
Well, yeah.
We just want to give you options.
Sure, absolutely. Well, I will acknowledge that, I think the CEO has asked every department to identify, whether it's cost containment or, revenue enhancements that make sure that we provide the services that we have been providing. And obviously, y'all have not raised these fees in many years. The cost of doing business has gone up. And so we just have to kind of all work together, meet in the middle. And so, to the extent that some of our families who might, have more financial hardships or stressors, we're keeping those fees the same. And for just the cost of, providing the summer camp, the mini camp, the basketball, the after school, my thought is I would prefer to go with proposed fee number 2, simply because I want to make sure that y'all have all of the resources that you need to make sure that these camps are, continue to be stellar. I don't want us to kind of have a discount camp where, we have like 1 basketball or something like that, right? We need to make sure the facilities and the programs are the best they can be, and so I don't want to shortchange y'all. So, Madam Chair, that would be my, I'd be in favor of the number 2 column.
I appreciate that, Commissioner Terry. Just to jump in, and not to actually split the baby with the bathwater, but also considering a point that you had made in terms of us looking at opportunities to put some additional resources into some of the programs that we have for the youth and being able to supplement that, and just realizing that, the increase, albeit may seem, minimal to us in general, just realizing the impact that it can have for some families. So, I'm more in line, not to be contrary, but just to, try to balance those increases a bit with proposed fee one. But Commissioner Longspears, do you have any thoughts there?
I do not, thank you.
Commissioner Bolton? Okay. So I guess, Commissioner Terry, to the extent that you're amenable for a proposed fee increase 1 opposed to 2, or if you want to, look at any derivative thereof, then let's consider that. But my thoughts are 1, just a, stair step, and maybe, again, just a supplement, but I appreciate the work that we've done to try to, figure this out both for the county and our constituents. So with that, is there a motion?
Okay, well, I didn't hear where everyone was at, so I'll just go with my original proposal, but if it doesn't pass, we'll go to the next one. So motion to approve, you want us to approve just this section, or the other, did you want us to do the other sections as well?
Just this one for now.
Just this one for now. Okay, so just the recreation centers, programs, and activities section of the fee analysis document. Motion is to approve the proposed fee number 2 in this document.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Nay. Mine is for proposed fee 1 in consideration. But again, it's passed out of the committee, so we'll continue to move on, and I appreciate your assistance. Thank you so much.
And thank you, Mr. Ramsey, for your work on this. Now I'd like to bring up Cynthia Benefield. It's the Porter Sanford. There's a few more items on that one. It's a little larger. And again, that's another situation where fees haven't been, I don't think they've ever been increased since the building has been open. Is that
Okay.
correct?
All righty. Go ahead.
All right. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and
Good afternoon.
Commissioners. We did a study on the First Center, the Rialto, Southwest Arts Center, and the Alliance. Our fees are broken up into 4 categories. It's government, private, nonprofit, and corporate. In the study, we found out that the other centers, they just do nonprofit and corporate. So our fees have been very moderate over the years. Like I said, the last time the board approved the fees was in 2008. So, yeah. So now we have proposed fees, and on the fee sheet, you can see what our proposals are in red. Now, what we based this on was basing it on Southwest Arts Center, because they have about the same amount, well, most comparable to what we do. They are 325 seats, and they have 10 staff members. We have 10 staff members and 500 seats. So if you have any questions or anything, I'd be glad to answer.
I do not presently. I understand and appreciate that maybe some of the monies that are recouped can go to, some of the repairs that are much needed for the facility that we've recognized for some time now. But I will yield to allow for an opportunity for the rest of my committee members to add their thoughts. Commissioner Longspears has none. Commissioner Terry?
Yes, thank you. Yes, so I agree with the chair's statement about, as we bring our fees up to sort of the standard rate, we want to make sure that there's excellence in service and, stellar facilities. So from a kind of a budgeting perspective, I assume this is really going to support operations primarily. Is that right?
Well, we've through our funding, all the revenues go to the same place, and we're funded out of the budget. So it's not like it's not one for one directly to us, but it does help the big picture.
Okay. Okay. So to be clear, I don't want to. So we raise the fees, but we're not going to keep the Porter Sanford budget the same next year, right? Because that would defeat the purpose. So I think, Zach, hopefully the goal here is Park is generating more revenue, which means that their budget goes up commensurate with that revenue.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're not going to necessarily treat them like an enterprise fund, if you will. But you mentioned Porter Sanford. We clearly recognize, one, That's a diamond that we just need to polish.
Yes.
So we need to not only increase fees, we need to reinvest into that so that it can truly, be what it can be. So yes, these fee increase anticipate a lot more funding being reinvested into parks.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah, because I know that we had mentioned earlier on as we were going over the budget, being able to have a line item for Porter Sanford, just recognizing that we do have some others, Callan-Wald and others, who do have a particular line item that does help it keep, sort of shiny, if you will, but that's not the case for Porter Sanford. And so, again, with my understanding is the increase in these fees would be immediate. What is something that we can potentially do to ensure that Porter Sanford's getting some of the resources of
Absolutely.
of these funds? Because, just by way of example, when light bulbs and just understanding we have needs, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'll just to share with you one of the early meetings when the CEO, Cochran Johnson, arrived, I would say within the first 30 days, we were sitting down with, parks and with, the staff, talking specifically about Porter Sanford, just recognizing the potential that it has. So we recognize whether it's chairs, carpet, pressure cleaning, lots of issues. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Ms. Cynthia, are you going to, Director Ellis, you guys are going to, make sure that you hold our feet to the fire and, that we're dusting off our diamond a little bit more, right?
Okay. And I would recommend that we do it first, January 1st of 2026.
We book in a year in
Yeah.
advance, so
Okay.
it would just be convoluted not to do it that way.
Is there an issue in terms of that modification? All right, then fantastic. With that, I will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the Porter Sanford proposed fee rates.
Second.
With the modification of starting January 1st.
That's right. We'll bring a substitution back with time of approval. And,
Fantastic.
And I want to thank Cynthia for all of her time that she put into this.
Thank you so much. All those in favor? Aye. All right, and so we do have, I want to jump down. I know we have two more park and rec items, but seeing we have our rep, Viola Davis, here, and we also have Jocelyn O'Neill, I do want to get them, since they're a part of our agenda, get them on, and then we'll come back to the other remaining park and rec items, if that's okay with the rest of the committee. And so I want to invite Ms. O'Neill to the podium, if you don't mind, please, and thank you. Just to sound out the item, that's 2025-0497, all commission districts. This is to appoint Ms. Jocelyn O'Neill, post 11 of the Recreation, Parks, and Cultural Affairs Advisory Board. And so I know that we had a conversation earlier in terms of the requirements and trying to decipher that. Have we, since that time, been able to get more information, or just to give us an update as to where we are?
Good, how are you?
Good. No, ma'am, the situation, as I understand it, I don't have any new information from this morning, but again, the appointing resolution states that the recommendation for approval by the Board of Commissioners should come from the DeKalb delegation to the General Assembly.
Okay, fantastic. All right, and so just in the interest of time, and again, and respecting your time being here, I have just a couple of quick questions in terms of understanding the role and, your understanding of the role and what you hope to be able to bring to this position if appointed.
Experience dealing with our constituents in DeKalb County. My background is accounting, so I will be watching the money.
That's important.
My other experience is our youth and our elderly. I have lots of experience in that, working in the school system, and outside of that, I do a lot of community projects, and right now I'm dealing with the elderly, trying to help get things done for them. The character, my personality might be a little bit, some folks might say I might be a little thrown off. That's my personality. But my character, solid. And I enjoy that because I can lay down at night and say that I've done the right thing. I don't like to toss and turn because I have not. I don't do that. As far as participation in endeavors in the county, I've been doing it for a long time, even with our community park. I think it's been over at least 20 years. I initiated having our summer camp and supported it until the Parks and Recreation had gotten geared up to start giving services. I did everything. We did breakfast, we did lunch, we did field trips. I got grant money that was poured into our parks, even to the point that I had 2 parents bring their children to me at 2 different times. While I was sweaty early in the morning, working in my garden, they needed someone to keep their child until summer camp. So in the grant money, I was able to hire people to come in and be there early in the morning. So I didn't want to know your children. I didn't want your children around me at that point. You know, and it's been a wonderful venture. My whole life has been, since 1989, has been DeKalb County, even in the school system and working in the school system. I was always active with other things. I think there are not too many folks in the department that don't know me because I work with everybody. So it's not that I'm not familiar. Ms. Taggart, the lady who nominated me or put my name out there, I've known her for at least 30 years, supported that park, even helped them get refunded when they were paying out of their pockets for utility bills after the concession money ran out. I initiated back during the time of, I think it was Burl Ellis was here, or as he was entering in. So it's not that I don't know, I do know, and I love DeKalb. I will work to do whatever's necessary, but I'm kind of like one of my friends. I will be following and watching what's going on to make sure that all of our communities get exactly what they deserve.
I appreciate that. And the sleeping well point matters, and making sure that we have the right fit and that things are in line. There are some folks that don't know the level of communication that you and I have had and that we're able to have. And, to the point I would just briefly say, where you've been able to pick up the phone and say, listen, that was a great dress. I really love that blue dress, but maybe it wasn't the right fit for them. And
You're not the only one. You're not the only one.
I know. Listen, if I know anything, I know that, you spread it uniformly, so that's fine.
Yeah, I certainly
but
do.
with that, and I teased about being thicker than a Snicker now, since I've been on this board, but wearing what I have in my closet. But the point is, where there is the relationship to be able to say, let's look at this and make sure it's a fit, you could appreciate being able to do the same deference in coming in. You are nothing stellar in terms of your commitment and conviction for the community, and always wanting to make sure it's a right fit in terms of anyone that I give my name to support. But then also, we do, and I'm sure you can appreciate this, as you heard from our county attorney and our deputy county attorney, we still have to make sure that the appointments are going as we know who's what, where, and how, and they're going in accordance to the law. Because I don't think you respect me if I come in here and I'm doing something in converse of that. So I prayerfully, you could appreciate that, understand that, and where we are. And once we do that, then I'm happy to move it along. And with that, I'll allow you to go ahead and add more.
My comment to that is, I think I might be making history with this situation, because the people that I've known prior to me have never had to be vetted in such a manner. So hopefully, going forward, and even some of those who are on them, the vetting should not stop. It should not be just going forward. But I think I'm a piece of history right now because no one has ever had to do it this way.
Yeah, and I'm not sure, again, I am new, and I will tell you that I take my appointments, I'm on the Judicial Review Committee. When it comes to our judges, whether it's Court of Appeals and nominations with 2 different organizations, both Gall and DeKalb, and I take them abundantly seriously. So I always want to make sure I'm doing the right thing, when and how, and because we have the benefit of having a relationship, outside of just sitting on this BOC, I want to make sure that I am doing what's right, and you wouldn't want anything else but that from me, and would not respect me, and would tell me about myself if I did anything else.
And we haven't had this conversation.
Right. Yeah,
we should have had this conversation and let me know what's going on.
Right. Again, legal, trying to make sure, figuring out the ins and outs first. And it was something that was reiterated every time that it came up, and I think others got in the way of what their thoughts were in terms of what was going on. But I wanted, again, to afford the opportunity for us to have the conversation, for it to be presented from this board, for it to be made clear as to where we are so that we're on the same page, because the whole point is the same thing, that is doing the right thing and having the right and the best that we can do for DeKalb County. And so I appreciate your time.
We don't change this law to Jocelyn O'Neill's law.
You have to talk with legal on that one, and then get the buy-in of the board. And so let's, yes. Well, thank you so much again, Ms. O'Neill. I sincerely appreciate you as always. Thank you so much. All right, so we have now just the 2 last items. If we're still good on, I'm sorry. Yes. Great afternoon. Thank you so much.
You were going to call me?
No, I noticed you and recognized you here, right? So by all means, add. It's just, I wasn't certain if you were here in support, but by all means, yes, ma'am. Sure.
Well, the reason I'm here is because I received an email stating that I needed to come and explain about the appointment, which really threw me off. So I said, let me go in because there was a lot of confusion, a lot of things being said that made absolutely no sense. And I said, most of the people here know me, because I used to be and I am still, the unhappy taxpayer voter. And one thing I do believe in is speaking the truth. And whenever you have a lot of confusion, you can almost bet there's some shenanigans going on. So I said, let me go up here and straighten things out, particularly for our employers. And then when I say employers, I'm talking about the taxpayers and voters that hire and fire us all with their vote, pay us with their tax money. So when it comes to this nonprofit public business called government, we as elected officials are the employees, and the taxpayers and voters are the employers. I've been saying that over 20 years, if not 30. So let me explain to you the reason I'm here, not only today, but I came another meeting. I've been here, this is my 3rd time, trying to straighten this mess out. I don't deal in mess. I believe that we need to just do what is right for the people, period. Now, everybody, I'm not gonna say everybody, because that would be too straightforward, okay? A number of people know that I wrote a recommendation for Miss Jocelyn. And the reason I wrote it is because a number of the community contacted me, phone ringing. Representative Davis, can you write a recommendation for Jocelyn? Because we want her to represent us on this board, on the Park and Rec. I said, oh yeah, knowing Jocelyn for decades, just like she said. And I'll be straight up with you. If there's ever a person who has dedicated herself to the community without pay, it's her. If it's ever a person I trust to be on the up and up, it's her. So I wrote that recommendation, which I gave you a copy of. You will see that the date was November 25th of 2024. 24. So I'm up here thinking that they're going to go ahead and whoever they're going to put on the board, they'll put on the board. But then I was contacted and they said, well, Representative, that is a delegation appointment. I said, what? I said, I'm sorry, I did not know that that was a delegation appointment. I said, let me check on this. What's going on here? So I go back and I ask the questions. Now, I saw that everybody was talking with the different attorneys or whatever, but the attorneys are not up under that gold dome. You don't work in the delegation. So there was a process, but the process was, for this particular appointment, it was the chairman that appoints. And I'm to understand that the chairman sent you a letter, right? So the question is not so much that, because that was done, the initial thing was done in 2024. I ended up getting a number of other calls because people wanted to do a process. I said, oh, no problem, but let's get it straight. Since I did a recommendation, it would be a conflict of interest for me to continue with picking the appointment. So I removed myself and recused myself out of the process and let it go on. Now that was before the session. Now the session is over. And you all, I don't know who's responsible, contact me shortly before the 4th of July to imply that I made the appointment when very clearly in 2024, I had recused myself. So somewhere in here, somebody's not being truthful. Now, I know to do this as an elected official is not very becoming. But when you lie on me, I have a problem. And the best thing to do when you have this type of confusion and deceit is to come up in here and tell the truth. What God loves is the truth. I'm saying that I have written an open records request, and I want it answered. I want to know every meeting that you all had with the delegation about this appointment during the delegation session. I want the dates. I want the emails, preferably digital, okay? There is something wrong here, and anybody who knows me knows. Keep Viola out of this, because in the end, I'm going to find the truth. I need those open records answered, and the next time I come back, I'm going to tell the employers of this government the truth. What God loves. And I'm going to be transparent. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So appreciate you. And just, you know, I will tell you that as the chair of PECS, it is news to me that this appointment was done or suggested back in November. I will tell you that there are 3 new commissioners on this board, and we didn't swear in. We won our race, I believe, on December 3rd. So at that point, we weren't even voted on going into the runoff, just as an FYI, as it relates to some of us on this board. So just an update there, and I very much look forward to the information as it comes forward to you, because you know we'd like to know as well and appreciate and respect your time, because I believe you gonna get down to the truth, and I want to see it as well. Thank you so much, sincerely, for your time. I appreciate that. All right, so we have the last 2 items. The next.
Do you want to make a motion or a vote?
We are still waiting on. We're still waiting on legal. We're still waiting on legal. We still have to. We're still not gonna moved forward with.
Do you want us to motion to defer?
Yeah, that's sure, absolutely. You can do
Motion
that.
to defer for 2 weeks. Is that
Sure.
sufficient?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Second, and a quick comment.
First and second, Commissioner Terry.
Yes, so I think the law department helped us uncover the mystery a couple weeks ago, and it was repeated this morning. The delegation, based on their interpretation, is House and Senate. Okay, so we're kind of, I feel like we're like in the middle of this. We just receive what they send us. So, like, whoever sent, representative, others sent letters and, recommendations. Like, I never got that because it never got to the committee in the form of an agenda item. So, not sure where the communication got lost. Probably has something to do with the last appointment being there for like 20 years. And no one really asked the question. It probably just kind of got done by default. So my request would be that whether it's through the law department, central staff, we just reach out to the House delegation chair, the Senate delegation chair, make sure they're aware, look, we have this vacancy, we need the delegation to decide an appointment. However y'all do that process, it's up to y'all. Obviously, we'd like them to work on it sooner than later because we don't want to have vacancies on very important boards like this. So if that could just be a request from the committee members to ask House delegation, Senate delegation chairs, make sure they're aware, and just give us some feedback. Hey, how much time do y'all need to go through your process? Communicate that way, and hopefully through that we can get to a decision on the post-11 seat. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We have a first, and then do we have I'm sorry, Commissioner Longspear has a comment.
Yep, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Ms. O'Neill's appointment to the RPCA committee has been active now for a few months. I think she is a wonderful community advocate and would be a great RPCA board member. And so thank you for Director Ellis for submitting this item and suggesting that she would be a good board member. So I would certainly be in support. Unfortunately, there has been just a couple of concerns that were expressed to me related to this item. One is the process itself. And I don't know if that's something that the RPCA folks can tighten up so there's just a little bit more clarity to the process so this doesn't happen again where we have a pending appointment to a board. So that would be good. And Director Alice and I have actually talked about it, and I really appreciate your leadership. The second thing is that there was just a little bit of confusion in the bylaws, which are on the RPCA's website, in terms of the delegation. So basically under Article 3, Section 2, I'll read it quickly. The Chief Executive Officer and each of the 7 county commissioners shall recommend the appointment of 1 member. The DeKalb delegation, the Board of Education, and the DeKalb Municipal Association shall each recommend the appointment of 1 active member or designee of their respective organizations. And so some of the confusion, I believe, was grounded in calling it the DeKalb County delegation, because while we consider them as one, if you will, but they do not. And so there's the House delegation and there's the Senate delegation, and they have different processes for making recommendations and appointments, and then securing support of the other members of their respective House, so whether it's the House of Representatives or the Senate. So those are just 2 recommendations, is that within the bylaws, perhaps to avoid confusion like this moving forward, is that maybe we look at a House appointment and then a Senate appointment, and so they can appoint whoever they want to serve on the RPCA board. So just some thoughts, but again, I am happy that Commissioner Messiah, as the PECS chair, is actively trying to move this forward and make sure we make a good decision. But just for record, I am in support of Jocelyn O'Neill. I think she's a great representative. Thank you so much. I yield back.
Thank you so much. And so there's a motion to defer. I'm sorry, Commissioner Bolton.
I'd just like to request if we could try to maybe encourage the communication over the next 2 weeks so that we can have information by the next CAL meeting. about how, I guess Commissioner Terry indicated, we want to know from them how much time they need. And so that it's not prolonged, that we get the first step in the communication. Can we encourage them to respond to our requests by our next CAL meeting, please?
And that's, again, legal. And it sounds like there's also some other steps per what Commissioner Longspears has shared in terms of an option, maybe that there is a House delegation, a House appointment, Senate appointment. Just looking at the options, but essentially, I get your point, trying to make sure that it's clear before we move things forward. And that was the whole point in the first place. I think as we are going through, and I've mentioned, and we all know there's 49 boards. Some of them are a MOOP, taxi board, and others. But understanding the body of work and the brevity of, just how much effort's going to have to come in, because there's appointments that are granted through different facets of the law and opportunity. So understand there's a lot of work, but not wanting to, complicate those efforts with our legal, but I think it will help us. And I would agree with Representative Davis in that it has been, a bit confusing and a bit messy, to be quite frank, in ways that have not been helpful, employing some of our constituents in public comments and encouraging and utilizing them and the like as weapons, if you will. So I appreciate that now. Hit dogs will holler. I appreciate now that there is an opportunity for us to resolve this, get down to brass tacks, and be able to move this appointment forward. With that, there's a motion to defer on the table, and is there a second? I believe Commissioner Longspears, there was a second. All those in favor? Aye. The last two items, we have 2025
We're going to need to start FAB.
Excuse me. Okay. So as I have been bluntly informed presently, that we are going to start FAB, and...
Well, it's just a request.
Excuse me?
Just a request.
Okay.
Just courtesy, asking the next committee chair.
Okay.
If,
so
start the next meeting.
Again, at this point, that's not the way I would have directed it to move forward. But of course, I'm respectful of our FAB chair and appreciate him for all of his time. I know that we utilize each other's time. Director Ellis, if you wouldn't mind, as long as the rest of the committee is amenable, we will hold these last two particular items and vote on them at the next PECS meeting. So if that is the wish of the rest of this committee, I will entertain a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you all today. Thank you.
We'll start FAB at 4:25.